Over the years, I've just sort of ended up buying a lot of different copies of Lemmings. It's one of those games that was released on so many different systems, but here's the ones that I own. I've got it for the Mega Drive. I have it for the Master System. I have it for the PlayStation 1. I've got Lemmings 2 for the Mega Drive. I have it for the Game Boy. And I have it for the Game Gear. But this is basically identical to the Master System version. I have it for the Amiga, but it's in this tiny little box because this is the one that was bundled with certain Amigas. And this is the Amstrad CPC floppy disk drive version. And I also have an Amstrad CPC tape version. And I also have it for the ZX Spectrum. So there you go. Lots and lots of different versions of Lemmings. But my most recent one, and the one that I'm going to do the video of today, here we go. Lemmings for the SAM Coupe. There we go. I'm quite happy I have this. Alright, so let's have a look inside this box quickly. So this instruction manual is actually just the instruction manual for the PC and the Amiga version of the game. It doesn't mention the SAM Coupe at all. They didn't make a brand new manual for the SAM Coupe version. So what they've done is they've given this little additional piece of paper with some SAM exclusive options, or SAM exclusive controls. And it does say there that you can use a mouse or a joystick or a keyboard. Although they highly recommend using a mouse. And I'm actually quite lucky because this one that I've bought come with the Oh No More Lemmings expansion. Data disc. But this is the disc. Are you wondering what a SAM Coupe is? Just for those people who are wondering what a SAM Coupe is. So this is a SAM Coupe. It is an unusual looking machine. But what it is, basically, it's an 8-bit home computer. And it's kind of advanced for an 8-bit computer. It's sort of halfway between the usual 8-bit machines and a 16-bit machine like the Amiga. It was a lot cheaper, but it didn't sell very well at all. It obviously sold well enough to get a copy of Lemmings eventually, but I think it was very niche. Hey, look how quick that loads. Very nice. Yeah, the disk drive does make a noise through the actual computer's sound output. Right, yeah. I'm using a joystick. Very nice presentation. Although it doesn't have that little animated intro that the original game had. But that's okay. It says 1 player there. I don't think there is an option for 2 players in this version of the game, because there's a 2-player mode originally, but it requires 2 mice. So this is a nice little loader tune. I don't think other versions of the game have loader tunes. Level 1 is the usual level 1, just dig. Let's see what this thing looks like. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? For an 8-bit machine, this looks pretty good. I think usually the music in this first level is the can-can. But you know, you've got to be careful because it is actually possible to kill your lemmings in this first level. If you dig straight from where they enter the level, then they can fall down too far to the bottom and get squashed. So yeah, I've finished the level. Now it's just a case of waiting for the little guys to actually get to the exit. I think this version of the game has mostly original music. The levels themselves do appear to be the same as the original versions of the game. I'm not just going to show off the first couple of beginner levels. I will sort of jump ahead to some more advanced levels. Apart from the status bar at the bottom there, the graphics in the main window do look really good. They might have even just taken the graphics from the original version of Lemmings and converted it over. But the status bar there does look a little bit more basic, I think. And somehow I have failed to click on some of the Lemmings there, and some of them did get squished. That's a bit of a worry. I mean, the cursor itself is actually really quite responsive. But it seems like it wasn't 100% responsive when I was trying to give the Lemmings a skill. It is quite refreshing playing this from a floppy disk actually, because a while back I only really had the Amstrad CPC version of the game on cassette tape, and it doesn't take a huge amount of time to load each level, but it's obviously a lot of extra loading compared to a floppy disk. Alright, this is the third level, the typical third level where you have to block your lemmings. You see this little mini map of the level. At first I thought it was just bugged, and I thought, oh no, I've got a dodgy, because it might be too old or something. But I think it's actually just not displaying the level because the pixels are too small, if you see what I mean. It's not displaying the platforms. Now this is where you get to see something that is unique among the 8-bit versions of Lemmings. You can see that this version really does have a lot of Lemmings on screen at once. So there's up to 50 Lemmings on screen at once now. But you can also see that it actually does make the game slow down significantly. Most levels have 50 Lemmings. This is the experience you get when playing this version of the game. It slows down a lot. It is definitely very slow. And in my experience with the SAM Coupe, it is quite a slow machine. And I think that's really just because the processor is not up to processing the graphics capabilities of the machine properly. The people that made this version took note of that, and they've given you a lot more time in each level. Right, sorry guys, but I'm going to have to blow you up. But have you noticed something? There's no speech in this, is there? Alright, so what I'll do now is I'll go back to the title screen. Thankfully you can just go back to the title screen by pressing escape. Let's do the first tricky level with just sound effects, because I want to show there is a sound effects only option, but something very unusual. Yeah. Where are the sound effects? Sound effects mode is completely silent. I've only noticed one sound effect when you play it in this mode. So when you have a builder, there's always a little indicator that they're running out of bricks. And that's it. I think that's the only sound effect. I wonder if they did that because they just wanted to convert the title screen over accurately, and there was the sound effect only option. So yeah, I've pretty much solved this one now. Just need to bash through here. But it actually is a bit of a problem for me because this video could have been a lot shorter if only the game ran a bit faster. I wanted to show off a few of the levels, The way the screen scrolls is a little bit chunky. It does it in like 8 pixel steps or whatever, but that is actually exactly the same as almost every other version of the game. But the music in this game is actually pretty good. I've got to say, I don't really have that much bad to say about it. I mean, there's always criticisms. All those little bits, how slow they fall down. So yeah, I've got my 48 Lemmings. They're going to march across extremely slowly. I suppose if I killed a few more of them, they'd go a bit faster, wouldn't they? It's nice to see all those little guys making their way to the exit. But I'm pretty sure on 16-bit machines at least, the game moves a lot faster. My favourite version of Lemmings is the Mega Drive version. And that one doesn't even support a mouse, but they've made the music in that version so nice to listen to. There's something about the Mega Drive sound chip when they get it right. I think this was the next level and I've solved it, and this is just me building a bridge. And you can sort of see how slow that animation is going on that little lemming, because there's loads and loads of guys waiting over to the left. But at least they've got animated water, and you know, graphically everything looks exactly the same as the 16-bit versions. So I mean, if I had bought this for my SAM Coupe, if I'd had a SAM Coupe in the early 90s and I'd bought a copy of this, I would have been very happy with it. Look at that, look at all those little guys. I need to make sure they're all walking to the right before I blow up that guy. I think that's probably the reason why I think the ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad CPC versions are limited to 20 lemmings on screen, is just because of the slowdown. So, you know, they're a bit more ambitious with this one by letting you have 50 on screen, but then it does really, really slow down. But the SAM Coupe, it does have the same Z80 processor as a ZX Spectrum, but it's a different type of Z80, and I think it's supposed to be a faster variant of it, and it's also clocked faster, but it still ends up being quite slow because I think it's just the graphics. It's not like a Commodore 64 that's got sprites and hardware scrolling and things like that. There is quite a lot of RAM in it, but it is the processor doing all the work. But it was a budget machine, definitely. if at first you don't succeed. This is the first taxing level, but it says you have 10 minutes and you definitely don't get that amount of time on the other versions of the game that are a little bit speedier. This is actually really quite a tough one. It's a level that appeared earlier. This time it's reappeared, but you have less skills. So you think you might be able to just bash through them pillars, but you've only got 2 bashes. I think the time limit is tighter than it was earlier on. But I think I've worked out how to do this one. So I've got to say, up until now, almost everything that I tried on the SAM Coupe, I wouldn't go so far as to say shovelware, but almost everything I played on the machine was just a little bit disappointing. Before this, I bought a copy of Clacks. It was such like a workman-like effort. Like, they knew they weren't going to get huge sales from it, so maybe they converted it over from something else in a week or something like that. But playing this, a game that the people that worked on it have put a lot of effort into, it's really quite refreshing, and it puts the SAM Coupe in a different light. Actually, it shows its potential. Right, yes, so I made that guy an athlete. So he's a climber, and he's got an umbrella. I don't know what they call them. They call them floaters, don't they? So I can get him to build a bridge over the other side, and I've cleverly trapped the lemmings down there. So what I need to do is I need to make one of these guys a blocker. It actually calls them shrug when they run out of blocks. Just about pixel perfect. You know, for someone who's got a lot of different versions of Lemmings, I haven't actually played it all that much. I did get quite far on the Mega Drive version at one point, but it gets quite hard. What a unique concept though. You know, the people that were responsible for making this really hit upon something good. You need to avoid that thing there, because if you go down there, that thing actually picks up your lemmings and slams them into the floor. Right, so now I'm on the blocker. I accidentally selected the wrong guy. Great. So I can't beat the level now. Now at this point I'd already tried this level about 3 times, and I thought, do you know what, I'm not going to try it again just for the sake of the video. Screw you game, I worked it out and it's your fault that I didn't beat it. Well, there you go. That is a very long look at Lemmings on the SAM Coupe. It's missing a few bits. It's got a few additional bits. It's missing the speech for some reason. But if you're aware of the kind of games that are available for the SAM Coupe, for the machine, it's a 10 out of 10, despite the slowdown. That's the end of my video. Thank you for watching.